if there's potential in doing this, why can't I do it? I was quite young when I started, so I have a lot of time to catch up with the big companies, if you know what I mean. Whatever it might be, any business, just get the tasks out the way. Okay, that's the main thing.
Hey guys, today we'll be talking with George Seaman. So, who are you?
Okay, so obviously I'm George. I run my own business. It's called George J Kicks. We basically just specialize in selling pre-owned and brand new shoes. Um, we sell it through, well, we used to sell through lots of the marketplaces you would know, like Vinted, eBay, Depop, etc. But now we primarily sell on an app named Tilt, and it's basically an auction website where you'll go live like a Twitch stream or a TikTok live, and you'll just show the shoe off to the viewers and auction it off, starting at £1 and whatever it goes for as the final bid. That's basically it.
Wait, so why did you actually start selling shoes?
So I started a few years ago, and I didn't actually start with shoes. I started with clothes. I say a few; it was only about 2 years ago now. Started with clothes. I started with pre-owned bales, if you know what they are, like wholesale vintage clothes and stuff like that. And I bought these like jumpers, and they sold really well during the winter. I was paying about £2 a piece, and I was selling them for about 10 to 15, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but I was averaging about £10 profit a unit. And that was what really got me into it. And I kind of learned the best places to sell particular items. And basically from there, I started going to car boots and stuff. And that's when I got into shoes. Yeah, that was basically it. That's where I got my first shoe from, a car boot, really.
Got you. Okay, so like, why did you actually decide to like change platforms to sell shoes? But you're doing it traditionally, and now you're doing it through auction. Like, is it really profitable? Because like four people could bid it, and you could lose a ton of money now.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I've sold a lot of shoes for £1, which sounds bad, right? But I've also sold pairs which I paid. I remember one sale, I paid £12 for them. I sold them for 70. It's like a 50 odd quid profit, right? But then sometimes I sell a pair for £1 and I would have paid a 10 or a 15 quid, whatever it might be. So you do make a lot of losses, but overall I wouldn't be doing it if I was making losses and losses and losses, you know what I mean? So there is definitely the profits counterbalance the loss more than, if you know what I mean. Like you make more profit than loss. That's why I do it.
Got you. Okay, so could you actually tell us like how you first got into like actually selling those shoes and the clothes?
Well, I think I saw a video on TikTok, and it was basically someone showing off all their like vintage sales on Depop, and they were doing like 20 or 30 a day or something like that. And I started looking online on eBay, and I saw this account called Open Outfit, I think, something like that. And they sell like 60 odd items a day, and because they're buying it in bulk, they're probably only paying like quid or two each. You know what I mean? But they were selling for like doing thousands in sales and just paying like pennies for it, like pounds. You know what I mean? And I just thought, if there's potential in doing this, why can't I do it? I was quite young when I started, so I have a lot of time to catch up with the big companies, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like, did you face any challenges when like you were starting out?
Yeah, loads. So the main one is, and it's definitely a recommendation for anyone trying to start out. Always get your jobs done as soon as possible, especially the ones like I just flacked a lot, to be honest. I didn't send items out on time. It always got delayed. And the sooner you get the item sent out, the sooner you get the money. The sooner you get the money, the sooner you can reinvest it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of issues like that. And then the main one at the minute is competition. There's a lot of competition out there for me, especially on the Tilt app. Because when you go live, there might be other people live, and they take the viewers. So you got to be careful with what times you go live, and who's on at the same time. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. That completely makes sense. So like, how was like selling on Tell actually changed the way that you sell those shoes?
Okay, so basically, on Vinted, what you'd have to do is take photos, put it online, wait for it to sell, etc. But with Tilt, I'll go on live. Like the other night, I did a live for 2 hours, two and a bit hours, like 2 hours, 15 minutes, and I sold 93 pairs. So I'm selling about 40 an hour, something like that, 45 an hour, which is very quick, right? But if I went on Vinted, I could only list about 6 or 7 pairs an hour. And if I'm going to be honest with you, some shoes on Tilt get more than they do on Vinted, but majority you'll get you get more money on vintage like 95% of the time than you will on tilt. But I kind of work more on volume than like selling a few bits on vintage. I'd rather sell like I do a few like 400 or 500 pairs like I do a month at the minute instead of just selling 50 odd pairs if I'm lucky on vintage. Like you know what I mean? It takes a lot of time.
Okay, got you. So like, how did you actually figure out what shoes to sell? Because with shoes, they get popular and then they don't really fast, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, it's a bit of trial and error. I already knew what sold on vintage, so I transferred it over to Tilt, lost loads of money because all the brand new stock I sold. Some of it made me money, but most of it I was losing. So I got into pre-owned shoes. I saw a fair few people doing it. Well, not a fair few. There was a very minimal amount, two or three at the time. Um, and I kind of just got into it. A big seller on there actually helped me get into it. And if you just go on people's streams, see what they're selling, you kind of know what's selling. But the main thing for me is trial and error. And I now have spreadsheets where I put in the average sell price of each individual like shoe, if you know what I mean, like the model. So I know what to buy them at. I know what to buy them at. I know what to sell them at. I know what they sell for on average. And it's mostly trial and error. I've tried hundreds of different shoes, hundreds. Loads of them I've made money on, loads of them I haven't. So ones I make money on, I'll keep buying, and then ones I don't make money on, obviously I won't buy anymore.
No, that completely makes sense, right? So like, are you just doing this all by yourself, or are there people actually helping you with this business?
No, no. Currently I have two people cleaning shoes for me downstairs. I don't do the cleaning anymore. It takes too long. I can't sit there for 4 hours a day cleaning shoes. You know what I mean? I do pretty much everything else. I'm thinking about getting someone to pack up the parcels for me as well. Um, Save me time. I've got time for other jobs, but at the minute, I think that is my main priority. I need to find people. I need to eliminate the jobs that I don't necessarily need to do. If you know what I mean. So I'm very limited on my time, especially with college in the way.
Okay, so like, how are you actually saving your time? You mentioned that you're hiring more people to, clean shoes, but is there anything else you're doing?
Um, well, I'm now starting. I normally send items with Every, but they don't offer collections unless you pay like £2 per parcel. So I'm now looking into swapping to Royal Mail because they do a collection and you can just book it for like every other day, and that would save me about 2 or 3 hours of work a week. So I have to drive all to every drop offs, and that takes time. So that's one way I'm gonna save more time, just having someone come collect it, scan a barcode, they take the bag of stuff. And then I also send the items which I buy. I buy a lot of shoes and they go to like parcel shops and stuff, and I buy a lot of stuff overseas. So it all goes to like parcel shops, pickups, etc. So I'm considering just switching it to send to my house. The reason I do it is because I work on volume, so it saves a lot of money when I send it to like parcel shops, if you know what I mean. So that's another way. If I just send it to my house, that'll save me a lot of time. So I won't have to go collect it anymore.
Got you. So like, what trends have you actually noticed in like the resale space for like, just shoes?
Probably, to be fair, the brand new shoe market is dying, in my opinion. Well, I think it's slowing down now, but over the past couple of years it has. So, for example, if I just grab a pair of these, like a basic pair of Dunks, right? Brand new, they're £120 retail, £110 retail. 2 years ago, they would have been reselling for over 200 quid any day of the week, like super easily. But now you can pick them up. Like I paid 40 quid on them, which is ridiculously cheap. If I had the opportunity to pay 40 quid on them 2 years ago, I would have bought 1,000 pairs. You know what I mean? So I think the shoe market is dying um, quite a bit. But you say trends, so I think buying pre-owned is quite good as well. So because even though the shoe market's dying, if you look at the older pairs, which like the 2018, 2017 pairs, which are all pre-owned, you can't get them brand new no more. I've noticed they normally go for more money because they're harder to get your hands on. They're very limited amount because they're 7, 8, 9 years old. You know what I mean? So the older shoes definitely sell for more money, in my opinion.
Completely agree, completely agree. So like, are there like any common mistakes that you've made like in the early days? And like what advice would you actually give to like prevent that?
I think I said at the start, but delaying, like, I used to sell a few. I think I sold on average 2 or 3 items a day on Vinted, and with places like Vinted, um, the sooner you get the item sent out, the sooner you get your money. So when the buyer receives it, they have 2 days to confirm it. If not, you get your money either way. And then, so if I sold an item right now, shipped it the same day, probably 6 days, 5 days max till I get my money. The sooner you get your money, the sooner you can reinvest, and that basically it's just going to build your business even better. And as a beginner, cash flow was very, very limited. It's not so bad now, but yeah, definitely not getting items sent out on time is the main thing I was bad with. But now I've sorted it all. It's all getting sent out pretty much the next day, day after that. But it's yeah, main thing is getting things sent on time.
Okay, so what do you actually do with the shoes that don't actually sell?
I'll sell them on the tilt stream. Even if they go for £1, they're still £1 back in my pocket. It's better than throwing them in the bin. You know what I mean? Or I'll put them on Vinted for cheap. But even if they don't sell well, I'll still just put them on tilt. Someone will buy them for at least £1. You know what I mean?
That makes sense, yeah. So like you mentioned that you had some issues with cash flow. So like could you explain that?
Yeah. Well, um, if you don't ship out your items on time, like I said, you don't get your money, and then you end up putting your £100 in, and then waiting a month to get it back. And then when you only have like 100, 200, £300, whatever it might be, it's very difficult to make some decent profit at the start, and it takes a lot of time to build it up because with a lot of the platforms, they hold your money for weeks, like weeks, 2 weeks, sometimes even 3 weeks. Depends on how quick you get it shipped. I know Depop takes quite a while. I'm not sure if they've changed it, but I knew when I used it about probably a year ago, you're waiting like 2 weeks for your money. Vinted's like a week at least. I think eBay's not too bad, but most places, it's all about you need to get your money in and out. You need to get everything turned over as quick as possible. That's what I've noticed.
Got you. Okay, so what are you actually doing differently now from earlier?
As in, like cash flow or
Yeah, cash flow.
oh, well, now I get paid the same day. Um, yeah. So, Tilt is basically as I've sold hundreds and hundreds of items, they decrease the time it takes for you to get paid out and etc. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's definitely a good Tilt is definitely good to sell on, but I think yeah, it's definitely. I think the main thing that attracts me is the same day payouts that they offer me, but they don't offer that to everyone. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but soon find out.
It's all good. Well, that is really convenient for you. But like,
Yeah.
could you actually like share a moment where you realized that your business actually like took off?
Um. Yeah, I remember doing my first stream in March this year, and it went horrendous. But like, I made no money. I made no money. But I sold like 40 pairs of shoes and got like 400 quid back, and that was like a month of cash flow for me. So I was like, this is amazing. And for some reason, I didn't snap up the opportunity to keep going, find out what sells. I just left it and kept going with Vinted. Anyway, about 6 months later, into August time, I then did another stream with loads of cheap bits. I got off like I think I imported loads of overseas used pairs or something like that. I think they're from I can't remember some Asian country I bought them from. They're all real, just pre-owned, and because they were cheap, I made a good amount of money. I made like 100 quid from like 12 pairs or 10 pairs or something. And I was like, this took me 30 minutes to stream it all, 30 minutes to pack it, 30 minutes to buy it, 30 minutes to clean it. 2 hours, I made 100 quid. I'm on 50 quid an hour. You know what I mean? And then it went off from there really. August was when I really started doing it properly. Since then I've had I think there's about 10 different cleaners I have. They don't all work at once, but they all work separate shifts during the week. Um and yeah, that was basically it. That's where it started August. Did my first stream, made about 100 quid. It's pretty chuffed.
Okay, you were mentioning that something went wrong like during like the first live stream. So like, what actually went wrong in your eyes?
I didn't make any money. I sold loads of shoes. I didn't clean them. They weren't like battered, but a lot of them weren't great condition. I think I took like 4 or 5 days to ship them out as well, which is really quite poor. The shoes weren't great condition, but I've noticed you need to get your shoes clean. Like you could have a shoe that'll sell for £100 clean, but if you go sell it uncleaned, it's going to sell for like tenner. You know what I mean? It's all about keeping the shoes as good as condition as possible. So I think that was where I went wrong. I didn't clean them properly, and the lighting was terrible. Everything about the stream was awful. I still have the photos because you can go on the order photos and see what it is. So I can send them to you if you want to see them. But yeah, it just wasn't good.
How do you actually like stay motivated to continue the business?
Um, Probably the main thing is just having the nice things in life. You know what I mean? Like eventually, if I obviously I could go work a regular job at my age, be on £6.40 an hour. I think that's minimum wage. It's just shit in my eyes. I wouldn't want to spend my time doing that.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's well. To be fair, £6.40 an hour is pretty decent, and it's now going to 7.50. So it's not actually that bad.
yeah.
But I sometimes do a stream and I've made barely any money, or not made anything at all. But then I'll think it evens out over time. But honestly, I don't. Now I think about it, £7.50 an hour is not too bad. But the main thing is like just seeing the nice things in life that you could have that are quite expensive. You know what I mean? Like the expensive shoes I've got now that I wouldn't have had before because I bought them myself. And yeah, it's nice seeing them things, and that's what keeps me to go. And I've got expectations. People have got like my parents and stuff. They've all got like expectations of the numbers, of the profit I can make. So I don't want to just randomly stop, go sit on my Xbox all day and make no money because I don't want to
Yeah,
like
yeah, that makes complete
anyway.
sense. That makes complete sense. Wow. So like what are your actual business goals or just personal goals?
Uh, Probably to have like. Well, I wanted to get in. I wanted to have a mortgage by about 18, 19.
Oh wow. Why is
Obviously,
that?
well, it's better to get into it sooner than later. Um, yeah, obviously I want a nice car, but insurance will do me over. So I think I'm just gonna go with something cheap, like a Golf or something like
Yeah.
that. So, but yeah, I want to have a house like when I'm quite young because it's good to get into a mortgage sooner or later because obviously house prices are just constantly going up, and the business I want to be able to have it run with me doing barely anything. I want to have employee do streams, employee pack the parcels, etc., etc. I want to be able to do my own. I want to be able to sit on Xbox while I'm just making money. You know what I mean? That's the main goal.
Got you. So end goal is to basically automate everything. Have a guy
Yeah.
cleaning, have a guy packing, have a guy managing all the logistics, what's having a guy on the streams actually auctioning them off.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
got you. So like when do you think you actually reach that goal roughly?
Yeah, two. I
Okay.
think based on the growth I've had so far, I think I can have. Obviously, I don't think the only thing with me buying the house, the personal thing, is you need like proof of pay and stuff. Obviously, if I buy it in a year's time, that's only like a year and a half of like or 2 years, whatever it might be, of proof of pay. If you know what I mean. Um, but I think I can have someone. I think I just have it automated by about a year, pretty much. The only thing I can't automate is the buy-in. I need to teach someone how to do it, but I think I'll pretty much always do that. It's not too difficult. So yeah, probably a year or so till it's automated.
Okay. So like how has your business journey like actually impacted your life outside of work?
I can buy myself and my girlfriend and parents, whatever it might be, whoever it might be. I can buy them nice things. I can buy myself nice things. Um, because that's just how making money works. You know what I mean? And having a business over having a job, a regular wages job, like £6.40, £7 now, whatever it might be. I'm very free with my time. Like if one day I just feel like shit and can't be asked to work, I won't work. But yeah, I think the main thing is that I can afford I can go out and spend 50 odd 60 quid on myself without feeling bad.
That makes complete sense. Like what advice would you actually give to someone wanting to start in a similar space like you?
Um I've said it about 3 times. I keep repeating myself. get everything out the way. Get all the little jobs out the way as soon as possible. Anything on a time limit, packing parcels, sending parcels, buying shoes, buying whatever it might be, any business, just get the tasks out the way. Okay. That's the main thing. Anything that needs to be done in a certain period, prioritize that. That's the main thing.
Okay, got you. Well, is there anything else that you want to mention?
I think I'm pretty much done. I'm not really sure what else to say.
All right, that's fine. So, George, where can actually people find more about you and JD Cooks?
Okay, so I have a website. It's not built yet, but it's in the making eventually. GeorgeJKicks.com. Then I also have an Instagram, same George J Kicks. And then finally, what I sell on Tilt has all my links are in my Instagram description, so my Tilt and everything. But yeah, George J Kicks and pretty much everything. George J Kicks. That's pretty much it.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys listening, and hopefully you guys like this episode.